Let's talk about something absolutely incredible. Right now, as you're watching this, your body is rebuilding itself. It's like this constant, silent construction project that never ever stops. So the big question is, how do the workers, yourselves, know what to build and where, and maybe most importantly, when to stop? We're going to dive into the secret blueprints that make all of this possible. I mean, just think about this for a second. The entire lining of your stomach, your intestines, it's completely new, completely replaced about every 5 to 7 days. That is just a wild feat of biological engineering, and it's happening inside you right now without you even feeling a thing. So what's the secret? How does it pull that off? Well, the answer is hiding in these little structures right here. They're called intestinal crypts. You can think of them as tiny microscopic cell factories. And tucked way down at the bottom of each one are the master builders of your body, stem cells. These are the cells that are responsible for all of this constant renewal, not just here, but all over your body. But here's the thing, a master builder can't just work in a vacuum, right? They need instructions, they need blueprints, materials. For a stem cell, all of that stuff comes from its immediate surroundings, its local neighborhood. And in biology, we actually have a name for this neighborhood. We call it the niche. Probably the best way to think of it is like a really bustling, busy job site. It's this tiny little microenvironment that is constantly sending signals to the stem cell, telling it what to do. Should it build? Should it wait? Should it make a copy of itself? The niche is where all the instructions come from. And you can see just how busy that job site really is. A stem cell is literally getting bombarded with information from all sides. It's feeling physical forces, like how stiff or squishy the tissue around it is. It's getting chemical messages from nerve cells, picking up on hormones that are just floating by in the bloodstream. And it's even getting signals from direct physical contact with its neighbors. It's this whole symphony of signals, all playing at the exact same time. Okay, so the stem cell is getting all of this mail, let's call it, from its neighborhood. But how does it actually read the mail? How does a message on the outside of the cell get all the way to the head office on the inside? You know, the easiest way to picture this whole process is with a really simple analogy. Just think of it like a doorbell. An external signal is like a delivery person. It arrives and rings the doorbell on the cell's surface. And that one ring, it sets off this whole chain reaction inside the cell, a sort of relay race of messengers that carry the info all the way to the command center, the nucleus. And this shows that doorbell system perfectly. The delivery person is what scientists call a ligand. The doorbell is the receptor. As soon as that ligand binds to the receptor, bam, it triggers this whole cascade of proteins inside. They pass the message along until it activates a final messenger, which then goes into the nucleus and flips specific genes on or off. That's how the order gets executed. Okay, so that's the general system for how the messages get delivered. But what are some of the specific languages these cells are actually speaking? It turns out there are a few major communication pathways that are absolutely crucial for pretty much all of development and renewal in our bodies. So let's start with a really big one called Wnt. It works basically like a simple on-off switch. When the Wnt signal is off, like you see on the left, there's this destruction crew inside the cell, and its only job is to constantly find and destroy a messenger molecule called beta-catenin. But when the Wnt signal arrives, as you see on the right, it shuts down that destruction crew. Beta-catenin is saved, it starts to build up, and it marches right into the nucleus to deliver its orders. It's simple, it's elegant, and it's incredibly powerful.
And these languages aren't just spoken in the gut, they are absolutely critical in the brain too. Here, you have these signals telling neural stem cells, or NSCs for short, exactly what their job is going to be. Should you become this type of cell or that type? The messages they receive literally determine their destiny.
And one of the most famous and vital signals of them all, especially in the developing nervous system, is a protein with a, well, let's just say a rather unusual name. It's called hedgehog. And yup, you are seeing that correctly. The full name of this absolutely critical signaling protein is sonic hedgehog. And no, that is not a coincidence. The story goes that the protein was named by a researcher back in the 90s whose kid was a huge fan of the video game. It's a really fun piece of trivia, right? But its job is deadly serious. The sonic hedgehog pathway is one of the master signals that literally maps out the entire layout of our brain and our spinal cord as we develop.
Okay, another key language is the TGF-beta pathway. Instead of getting bogged down in all the details, let's just think of it as a quick 4-step story. Step 1, the message arrives. Step 2, the receptors on the surface basically sound the alarm by bunching up together. Step 3, a messenger protein called SMAD gets activated. And step 4, that SMAD protein travels to the nucleus to deliver the final orders. Done.
Now, here's the really mind-blowing part. A cell isn't just listening to one of these signals at a time. No way. It's processing WANT and Sonic Hedgehog and TGF-beta and dozens of others all at the same time. It has this entire dashboard of sensors on its surface, and it's integrating all of that information in real time to make a decision.
Which brings us to the climax of the whole story. After listening to this symphony of signals from its neighborhood, what is the ultimate choice that a stem cell has to make? Well, it all boils down to this fundamental fork in the road. On one path, there's self-renewal. This is where the stem cell makes a perfect, identical copy of itself. This ensures the factory never runs out of those master builders. On the other path, there's differentiation. This is where it commits to becoming a specialist, a skin cell, a gut cell, a neuron, to actually do the work of the tissue. So how on earth is that decision made? Well, often it's incredibly subtle. Remember our messenger from before, beta-catenin? This shows that once it gets inside the nucleus, its final order, whether to self-renew or differentiate, can come down to something as simple as which partner protein it teams up with. Same messenger, just a different partner and a completely different outcome for the cell. It's amazing. So, understanding this ridiculously intricate system of signals and choices isn't just, a fascinating biology lesson. It's about learning the actual language of our own bodies. It's about figuring out how to hack the body's code. And why does that matter so much? Well, because if we understand the instructions, we can start to write our own. In regenerative medicine, we could potentially guide stem cells to repair a damaged heart or heal a severed spinal cord. We also know that many cancers are basically caused by broken signaling pathways that just tell cells to grow and grow without any limits. If we understand the language, we can design drugs to go in and specifically shut down those broken messages. All of this incredible complexity, from Sonic Hedgehog to these tiny intestinal crypts, it really all comes down to one simple, powerful idea. Stem cells are, above all else, listeners. Their entire existence is defined by their ability to listen to the world around them and then respond. And that leaves us with a final, really tantalizing thought. We are just at the very beginning of deciphering these cellular languages. But if we can truly become fluent, if we can really learn to speak the cell's language, what problems could we instruct our bodies to solve all on their own?